What's up, guys? Welcome back to a brand new video. It is the Muddy Puddle Squad here. In this video today, I'm going to be talking about Deolira, Gliceria, Pedro da Silva. Recently, she is a super centenarian claimant from Brazil, and recently, she was added to pending by the GRG, so I was going to make a video talking about that. However, a user on my channel, and I'm not going to say his name for privacy reasons, but a user on my channel recently suggested that I do a video talking about my thoughts on Deolira. And I thought that was a much better idea, so thank you for that. I really appreciate that suggestion. So I'm going to give you guys my thoughts instead of just talking about how she was pending by the GRG. So do I think Deolira, Gliceria, Pedro da Silva is a true case? And I'm going to be honest with you. No, I don't. I really don't. I have a hard time believing that she is a true case. Now, not because of her extreme age, but because she doesn't seem like she's 120 years old to me. And I'll explain why. Now, she does have some good proof. One piece of proof that makes her believable to be a super centenarian. Not quite 120, but to make super centenarian status believable. And that's the fact that she has a 90-year-old daughter. And we need to make sure that her daughter's really 90, before I can actually, it could be another case of identity switch. But if her daughter is really 90 years old, then she's probably likely around 108 to 110. To me, she looks like she's in her early hundreds, like maybe 104. But if she really does have, I believe it's a daughter, if she really does have a 90-year-old child, she could be 110. But I really don't see her being much older than that. And the reason for that is because she doesn't show any signs of extreme aging, such as Kane Tanaka or Lucille Randon did, or even, I can't think of her name right now, but the 117-year-old lady from Canada, Mary Louise Melior, if I'm saying her name right. Deolira does not show any signs of extreme old age like they do. And what's interesting is that her family says that she is still quote-unquote independent. Now, I don't know what their idea of independent is, but I don't think many 120-year-old people are very independent. I mean, if Kane, she seems more, I don't know what their level of independence is, but if Kane Tanaka and Lucille Randon and Sarah Noss had reached 120, I don't think that they would have been considered quote-unquote independent. As Kane Tanaka was already on oxygen and Lucille Randon looked partially paralyzed, I don't think that they would have been considered quote-unquote independent like the way that Deolira's family describes her out to be. Now, I doubt she is 120. She could be. I mean, I'm not saying that she's debunked. I'm just saying, in my opinion, I don't think that she is 120 years old. And they even made a remark saying that she still helps raise pigs, chicken, and cattle. Chickens, I guess you could say, pigs, chickens, and cattle. And again, I don't see a 120-year-old woman being strong enough to be able to raise those kinds of animals. I think, in my opinion, Batuli Lamichain is a much more plausible case than Deolira. And even Batuli couldn't do that at 120. I mean, Batuli, she worked out in the fields till she was 112, and she helped out with other sort of chores and yard work till she was 116, which is a little bit suspicious, but it's only a year older than what Emma Morano was when she was still doing chores around her house. So, I mean, it is believable. But Deolira's case, Deolira seems a little bit too independent and a little bit too, or I guess you could say a better way, you could say her health seems a little bit too good for somebody that is 120 years old. Now, what's interesting about her case as well is that in March of this year, for her claimed 120th birthday, her doctor actually said that they had found the original birth certificate. Most of her documents were supposedly lost in a fire, but they found the original birth certificate, and he was planning on submitting it to an organization. And then a few days ago, when Deolira became pending, The GRG released a statement saying that they had received some new documentation that made her case believable, and that's why they gave her the pending status. Now, in my opinion, again, what documents are these? I mean, I've never seen. There's been some researchers on a certain website. I can't say the name of it, but there's some researchers on a certain website that said that they researched the case and they've never seen anything, any early life documentation. So, I mean, if this is true, I mean, it's possible that this could be true. Again, it's possible it could be true. They never found the birth certificate. Somehow her doctor obtained the birth certificate and submitted it to the GRG, and now the GRG is saying that she's going to be marked as pending. It seems kind of suspicious to me. It seems suspicious. It seems a little sketchy. However, I mean, it's possible. I mean, I don't know. It's just weird. How did her doctor get the birth certificate in the first place? I don't know. If these researchers couldn't find it, maybe some new documentation was actually discovered, like the GRG claims. But I have a really, really hard time believing it, in my opinion. I don't know. We'll have to wait and see what happens. There's another organization I can't say the name of, but their validations are way more believable than the GRG. And until they validate Deolira, I'm probably not going to believe her case, even if the GRG validates her sometime in the future, just because this other organization is much more reliable than the GRG. Now, there is a piece of documentation that does exist, and I wouldn't exactly call it a documentation. I believe it's her ID card that was issued in the early 1990s. Or in mid-1990. I think it was 1995 when she was like 90 years old or something like that. And I mean, that is decent. It's a decent step forward, but it's not enough for me to say, oh, she's likely a true case. Because, I mean, it's only her ID card. They may not have known her true birthday, so they just made something up. I mean, it is a step in the right direction, because at that point, it was issued long enough ago where her longevity would not have been notable. So they weren't doing it for fame back then. But at the same time, it's a small step forward. Think of a large palace on top of a large mountain and a large staircase reaching that palace. And let's let that palace represent validation. It's basically a step up the staircase. It's not like a giant leap up 90 stairs. It's a small leap up one step to that giant palace, to that giant level of validation that's high atop the mountain. But it's not quite, I mean, it's not a huge proof showing an ID card from the 1990s. Like, again, it's a small step, but it's not a large step. It's not enough to convince me. I think Batuli Lamechain and I think Manuel Ribeiro da Silva are much more likely to be true than Deolira is, in my opinion. That's just my opinion. You guys are welcome to disagree with me. Leave it in the comments down below what you guys think. I would love to hear what you guys have to say. No hard feelings. If you guys think she's a true case, I mean, I don't have any hard feelings toward you, but I don't quite agree with it. And yeah, that's pretty much all I have to say. She just she doesn't seem like she's 120. I mean, if she was like confined to a wheelchair or bedbound and actually had some older documentation, then I might say, yeah, she's plausible. But at this point, I mean, I guess she could be a true case. I mean, if this doctor... I have a hard time believing that if researchers from this certain website didn't find the documentation, how did the doctor find it so quickly? I mean, I really don't know how that's possible. I don't know. Maybe they really did find documentation. We'll just have to wait and see. We'll have to wait and see what this, I'm just going to call him what this gold standard organization thinks of Deolira's case. And I've talked to some people from that organization, and they all seem to disagree, and they all seem to think that Deolira's case is false as well. So, I mean, I can't see her case. I think it'll just be marked pending forever. I think that the GRG simply marked her pending. They made up a story about how this documentation came in, and it was, that this documentation came in, and it was a step in the right direction. I think they just made up that entire story, and I think that they did it all just to get attention, to try to make themselves look better. But in reality, it just made them look worse. Because I think she's just going to be remained be remaining pending forever, and that's just my take on it. Anyway, thanks for watching, guys. That's about all I can really say on this case. But again, in conclusion, like I said at the beginning of the video, I do not, as of right now, I would have to say that I think Deolira is false. Anyway, thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time. Goodbye.